People get their dopamine hits from watching other people do things that they would normally be doing, if not for the fact that they were scrolling on their phones. So you're watching people do their wellness routine, you're watching people cook, you're watching people clean, and it almost gives you the feeling like you completed those things by yourself. And I'm not cooking on this channel. If I don't want to create that, is there a space for me to succeed? But I'm just putting it out there that I'm wondering, does YouTube have a niche problem? Is this the platform that I need to be on? Do I need to be creating this content at all? I have a couple of questions. Is it possible to grow a YouTube channel in this day and age that is not necessarily about how to blow up on YouTube or how to change your life in 6 months? The next question is, so much of entertainment these days is about delivering dopamine hits. And if you're not necessarily optimizing for that or editing for that, is there a space for your content on the internet? So there are three questions that we're going to go through today, or 3 points that I kind of have been playing around with. And then we'll go through what the questions are, and then I'll dive into what I've been thinking about them, just so that you guys have an idea of where this video is going and where my head's been at. So I'm Alyssa, food lover and ambitious home cook, and I've been doing this YouTube thing for about 2 months now. I've got a lot of interest, but right now I'm specifically creating beginner cooking content. And this is informational, educational stuff about learning how to be a better cook. But I don't cook on my channel, and keep that in mind. So as I've been posting my videos, I'm not complaining about the views at all. This is not that type of video, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But I have started to wonder a couple of things that have made me kind of shaky about whether this is the space for me or whether my audience exists here. And, I know that people go through their own different doubts and stuff like that. And before I talked myself out of continuing to post videos, which JK, I'm not going to do that, I figured let me take it to the source, because some of you guys might actually have ideas or like thoughts on the things that I'm thinking about. And I would love to hear them. Again, I love a discussion. If you guys want to leave some comments, I would greatly appreciate that, because I genuinely want to hear the takes about this. So the questions that are making me wonder if this space is for me. And number one, I don't have any peers or competitors in the space that I know of or that I found naturally. And I've done a lot of digging. And by that, I mean people who are making content specifically like I'm making. Number two, I don't cook on my channel, and I don't have any plans to. Number three, people really like cooking content, actual cooking content. And number four is my audience just on TikTok? Is that where they are? So let's go through these questions together. But before we get into that, remember when I said that this is not a video about me complaining about views? I need to get this out before I get people in the comments who haven't watched the full thing getting on me talking about, oh, it's not about the algorithm, it's about the audience. You need to serve the audience. I've watched the same videos that you guys have watched about how to grow your YouTube channel. I know that if something isn't working, it's not that YouTube is not trying to help you, it's just that you need to make better content. I'm clear on that. And I'm about 2 months in, and I'm not really mad about my views right now. I think I'm averaging 150 consistently. And that might not be like crazy great for everybody else, but for me, I know that in real life, I don't know that weekend after weekend, I could fill a room of 100 people and have them listen to what I'm saying. And so when I put it by that metric, I know that I'm helping people regardless, and people seem to love the content so far. And that's great. I am not, wondering why haven't I gone viral and all that stuff. I'm not necessarily trying to do that either. I'm just trying to focus on the actual content of the videos. And here's the thing. I know that that's great. Maybe the delivery or this or that, maybe I need to work on a couple of other stuff, but the actual content of the videos, the things that I'm saying are great because they're well researched and they're from my lived experience as well. I'm sharing with you guys the things that I've learned or the things that I've done through my own cooking journey. So automatically, like, it's my own experience. What are you going to tell me about that? And it's my own research. So what are you going to tell me that I'm saying that's wrong? So now that we have that clear, I'm not complaining. I know all this stuff about the algorithm. This is not a question of that. This is a question on, is the audience even on this platform? Are the people that I'm trying to speak to even on this platform? And so again, let's get into the reasons why I'm thinking that. So the first thing that started making me feel shaky, but I pushed through anyways, was I don't have actual competitors or peers in my space to look at. I make educational cooking content. I make content about food and cooking, but I don't cook on my channel. It's specifically about, tips and tricks that I've learned, and that's the way that I want to deliver because that's the things that I thought that I would be fun to watch. That's the type of stuff that I like to watch. I specifically created this channel to create content that empowers people to feel more confident every time they enter the kitchen. So I'm dropping tips on how to choose the best oil, how to grocery shop, things like that. And so my vision is that this is helpful for everyone, but specifically, who this would be great for? People who don't only like to know what to do, but they like to know why. Because that's the way that I learned. And I figured, this is what I'd like to watch. Why not make it as well? And I honestly found that a lot of the things that I've seen them in like cookbooks, or I've seen them on different websites or different videos, but there is no one space that I've seen just consolidating this content. And like I said, I'm having a hard time finding competitors or peers in this space. And remember when I said I've watched all the same YouTube videos about how to succeed on YouTube or whatever? Everybody pretty much recommends that you look at your competitors or you look at people who are doing something similar to what you're doing and see what works for them. The idea is not to copy them. I'm not looking for people to copy, but it's just kind of to know, what's already doing well. What does the audience like? What do people like to see? And that's helpful because, I want to create content that other people want to watch. This is a service business for me. If I'm sharing the information, I want you guys to find it helpful and I want you to, enjoy it and feel like you've picked something up. I don't really want to make stuff that nobody wants to watch. Yes, there's other benefits to the YouTube channel that I've seen in myself, and just like editing my videos, it's allowed me to really think about my articulation, how I speak and things like that. I can really see the benefits of that. But ultimately, I'm trying to create content that people want to watch. That's important to me. And so if I don't have peers or other people that I can look at and be like, hey, okay, I see that this is working, or I see like they like these types of videos, it makes you wonder. And at first I wasn't wondering. At first I was just like, oh, looks like there's a gap in the market that I'm gonna fill. But now I'm starting to wonder, do the people that are not making the videos that I want to make know something that I don't? And the couple of channels that I found that are kind of similar to me are huge channels. So they're not a peer. They're not a competitor. I'm not even a blip on their radar. For example, America's Test Kitchen. That would probably be the closest account that I found to people doing what I do because they don't necessarily cook on that channel. It's very, very educational. They do a lot of reviews and going through why something is the best. That's the type of stuff that I like to watch. So pretty much similar to what I'm trying to do. But they are huge. I can't compare myself to them. We're not working with the same budget. We don't have the same goals. We don't have the same capacity. They've got like editors and teams and that. This is a one-woman show over here. So they're not people that I can necessarily look to. And other people who I've found that make even similar content, there's a key difference between what they're doing and what I'm doing. And the key difference is I don't want to cook on my channel. And I'm not going to cook on my channel, at least not now. So everybody else that I found that is doing cooking content is cooking on their channel. And this is a key distinction. This is not something that I do because for me, this channel is really about sharing what I know a lot about. I want to create content that empowers people when they see another recipe because there's so much recipe and food content out there. Honestly, I don't think that I need to be creating it right now because there's so much to learn from. But what I did want to be was that channel where you could, based on the tips that I've shared, if you saw a recipe video or if you saw a cooking video, you would feel empowered to be able to make it. Or you could look at that video and be like, this doesn't really seem like it would make much sense. It might be a waste of my time trying to make this or something like that. Like, I'm tired of seeing sad gray steaks. And so I created a channel so that everybody can cook good and eat well. It's honestly a lot simpler than most people think. And so I don't want to cook on this channel. It's just not what I want to do. I'm not trying to create recipe content. I specifically think that for me, it would get in my way. And that's one thing that I really, really, really didn't want to do with this channel. And I felt like if I was trying to get cooking content, I would be way more focused on trying to get the right angle, trying to make sure that it looks good, plated and all that stuff. Whereas the focus for me is really trying to become a better cook. That's what I'm interested in. And so when I did find okay, I want to take this in a different way, I started throwing dinner parties in real life. For me, everything that I'm learning is for optimizing life outside of YouTube or life outside social media. And I don't really see how recording myself cooking would help me do that or help you guys do that because I'm also trying to have you guys be empowered in real life. I want you guys to watch the videos and be able to take the tips and tricks into real life. But people really like to watch cooking content. So that's the third point, or to be, however you want to classify it. People love to watch the act of cooking. And can a cooking channel that is not focused on the act of cooking succeed? That's the thing I'm really starting to wonder. The not having competitors and audience, that was cool or whatever, but the combination of the two, especially when earlier this year I was taking like a productivity course or whatever. And one of the things that they mentioned was that people get their dopamine hits from watching other people do things that they would normally be doing, if not for the fact that they were scrolling on their phones. So you're watching people do their wellness routine, you're watching people cook, you're watching people clean, and it almost gives you the feeling like you completed those things by yourself. And I'm not cooking on this channel. I'm literally just talking to you guys and just sharing what I've learned. But I think that the actual content, the words that I'm saying, make a lot of sense. So if people are trying to watch that type of content, people enjoy that type of content, and it does well for a reason. And the reason we know is because of, it has the dopamine hits and stuff. If I don't want to create that, is there a space for me to succeed? And I don't want to make this seem like cooking content never existed before social media. Obviously, there was Food Channel and stuff. In other videos that I've talked about, you will hear me talk about how I'm a Food Network baby. I grew up on that stuff. But even on that channel, the only person that I can kind of think about who was kind of more educational was, well, they were all educational. I learned a lot, but Alton Brown specifically, he really had that breakdown and deep dive, the type of stuff that I like to do, or I would like to do anyways. But he was also cooking in his videos. Like, he was showing a lot of that cooking content. And so in the same vein, if people like to watch the cooking, I guess I'm missing things like B-roll of me like chopping up a vegetable or like sprinkling some salt, things like that. But like I said, I'm still 2 months into this YouTube journey, and right now my focus has been less on editing and fancy cuts and b-roll and stuff like that, more focusing on making sure that the content of the videos that I'm saying actually makes sense. I believe that if I'm delivering, or if I can make sure that I can deliver my points in a concise, clear manner, it's more valuable to you guys than just, different cuts every 10 seconds showing a different angle. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just, I would love to do that one day for you guys and create really fancy videos. But I had to focus as a beginner on where are the things that I would like to improve on in each video. And for right now, that has been the focus on how I deliver the content. So the fancy cuts and the editing, the B-roll of me cooking, the B-roll of me pouring this, all that stuff is not there. But I know that people really like that. So again, is my audience on YouTube? Does my audience exist? Is there an audience for people who like to watch food or cooking related content, but aren't necessarily fussed about watching the cooking themselves? And the answer, I think, could be like a maybe, but maybe not on YouTube. So that brings us to the last point. Is my audience on TikTok? And I'm looking like that because I'm not on TikTok. And I think one thing that I really missed when I was creating my channel is because most people, or there's just like a large audience of people on there, there's a lot of users on there who are finding information being delivered to them in a way that I'm not creating. And my brain doesn't work like that either, because I don't consume short form content. I can't create for short form content. And so I was listening to a podcast and I heard her talk about how TikTok has taught her how to cook so much. And my natural instinct would have been to think that like TikTok doesn't give enough information. It doesn't give the deep dive, or it doesn't tell you the whys and hows. Things that I picked up from books and the things that I picked up from longer form videos, I wasn't sure how like just a couple minutes of video or like 30 seconds of video of showing how you make a recipe would be helpful. But it turns out a lot of people are learning how to cook on TikTok, which is great. But it's just kind of like, oh, is that where they are? And aside from the fact that, they're showing the actual cooking, which I said I didn't even want to do anyways, I've had my friends share me videos of people who do more educational style content, which is similar to what I want to do. And they're on TikTok too. And so I'm like, is the problem the platform? And in that case, what do I even do? Because I don't know if you know, but I had another video where I talked about, taking control of your life from these social media apps. I'm not trying to be on TikTok. I'm not interested in that. And because I'm not on TikTok, again, I don't know how to create that type of content. That's not the way that my brain works. And I like the fact right now that my brain is more optimized for like longer videos. So that's my last question, really. Does the audience that I'm seeking exist in a space that I'm not at? And another reason why I think they might be on TikTok is just specifically because of the type of content that I'm creating for beginners. I think it's very likely that a large population of people who would find that information useful, people who are new graduates from college, maybe newlyweds, or like people who are just trying to set up their new adult life, would be on that app. And part of the reason why I say that is because I know a lot of my friends aren't really on YouTube that much anymore. In fact, if they're on it, a lot of times it's to watch the video that I recommended to them. So what do you do? What to do? And you guys, don't get me wrong, this is not a video where we're going to get to the end of this and I'm going to tell you guys what I've learned. I don't know. I don't know at all. And the only thing that I could think to do would be to pose this question here. Does YouTube have a niche problem? Is my audience on here? Is there something that I should be doing differently within the limits and confines that I've spoken about? Like, keeping in mind, I'm only 2 months into this, so I do expect or think that my editing and delivering things like that will improve in a couple of months. But the other constraints, like the cooking and stuff, that's just not something I'm trying to do. Trying to create short form content even on YouTube for me is like, that's again not really what I watch. But I guess if anything, maybe that's one thing that I could do rather than dumping straight into TikTok. I could try and like cut this stuff into more bite size and deliver my points like that. But I love the long form content, and I'm creating content, I guess, for people like me who would like this too. And that's pretty much it, guys. Like, I just don't know where to go from here. Well, I do know where to go. I will continue to make my videos and just kind of see what happens. But I'm just putting it out there that I'm wondering, does YouTube have a niche problem? Is this the platform that I need to be on? Do I need to be creating this content at all? Are people seeking this content out? Is this something that they even want to watch? I think that if I think about America's Test Kitchen and stuff like that, the fact that they have the number of viewers and stuff that they do have would tell me that there seems to be an audience for it. But I don't know. I don't know, guys. Tell me what you guys think. I'm really interested to know and hear your opinions in the comments down below. Thank you guys for spending some time with me today and listening to me talk and think through my thoughts. And if you're not familiar with my channel at all, why don't you go ahead and check out some of the videos that I've put out already, just so you have the context of, what I'm talking about in this video and what I create. And YouTube thinks you might enjoy this video next, so why don't you watch that as well? Thank you guys for watching.